Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for visiting the YouTube channel for bestbiblecommentaries.com. In this video, I'm going to talk about the best reviewed commentaries on the major prophets of the Old Testament. Before I do that, I just wanted to say thank you for watching my videos. The world of people that are interested in Bible commentaries and biblical studies resources aren't that big, and so it's just fun to reach out to those who have a similar interest on YouTube and just make these videos and have some discussions in the comment section. It's fun for me, so thank you for watching. All right, so as I've done with other videos in this series, I want to emphasize that these aren't necessarily my favorite commentaries on each book of the Bible. Some of them are, but some aren't. There are the best reviewed commentaries based on my assessment of aggregate academic reviews. And what I mean by that is academic journals that are published by often seminaries. So experts reviewing experts who write commentaries, kind of. And not a lot of people have access to those. It usually takes some kind of payment or, some kind of paid subscription or something like that. And I think that they're the best kind of reviews. I like Amazon reviews too, but I like academic reviews more. And so that's kind of the information that I'm trying to provide, and hopefully it's helpful. So that said, best reviewed commentary on the book of Isaiah, in my opinion, is by John Oswalt in the NICOT series. This volume was published in 1986. It's praised for Oswalt's conservative approach to the book. He argues for the authorship of Isaiah from chapter 1 to chapter 66, and he argues for the unity of the book. And if you're familiar with Isaiah studies, you know that it's very common to question Isaiah's authorship, or to posit, multiple author theories, and then there's the discussion of Isaiah 1 and 2, or Deutero-Isaiah. And so Oswalt, a lot of conservatives like that Oswalt argues that Isaiah is actually the book of Isaiah, and that the book is a unified whole. It's also praised for its treatment of messianic passages, the passages that look forward to the arrival of Jesus. It's amillennial. That's not a major theme of the book, but there's certain passages where that will come through. If you're not amillennial, I would not dismiss this commentary. I would still seriously consider it. And he also sees future passages that Isaiah writes about the future as being in the future. So one common thing in Isaiah, and especially in Daniel, is for some modern commentators to think that certain passages are written as if they're happening in the future, but they already happened in the past, or they're happening in the present, and so it's kind of like a prophecy after the fact type of interpretation. Oswalt doesn't do that. When Isaiah says he's writing about the future, Oswalt thinks he's writing about the future. So other reasons why it's well reviewed, it's conservative theology, which I've said. It's very readable. One alternative as far as price is concerned, especially if you're a teacher or preacher, is these 2 volumes on Isaiah. I don't know how much they would be, maybe $80, $80 to $100 if you got both volumes. One alternative to that is that Oswalt also wrote the Isaiah volume in the NIV application commentary series. This volume is Daniel, so it's a lot thinner. The Isaiah one is thicker, but the Isaiah one in this series is written by John Oswalt. There's a focus on not just explaining the text, but applying the text, because it's called the application commentary. And a lot of the great nuggets that you find in this 2-volume set are condensed and summarized in the Isaiah volume in the NIVAC series. And the NIVAC series volume would be probably half the price, maybe even less. So that would be a consideration for those of you in ministry. All right, best reviewed commentary on Jeremiah is by J.A. Thompson. It was published in 1980. One of the reasons why this commentary is well reviewed is because its introduction. The commentary is about 800 pages. The introduction's around 140, 150 pages, something like that. And one of the things Thompson argues for is that Jeremiah was a real historical person. Some modern scholars doubt that, but Thompson affirms it. He is also amillennial, like Oswalt, and his theology is conservative and evangelical. Again, I would say if you're not amillennial, I would not quickly dismiss this volume. Just my opinion, my 2 cents. As I said, it's praised for its introduction, its exegesis, its conservative theology. He does interact with modern scholarship, but not to the point where a pastor or even an experienced layperson would find it overly distracting. So I think people in ministry would benefit from this. One criticism of the book that I read in a review, I think just one review, was that Thompson does not comment on every time the New Testament makes a reference to Jeremiah. So, and that's something that a lot of people like in their Old Testament commentaries. That's something I like in my Old Testament commentaries, that when they're commenting on a passage, they will note that, Jesus referred to this passage in this teaching, or Paul quoted this passage in this letter, or whatever, and just give brief comment on it. I like that. And so Thompson doesn't do that, so that I wouldn't suggest that you dismiss the volume for that reason alone. It's just it's just one of the criticisms I read, though. All right, next up is Lamentations by Paul House. This volume was published in 2004, so this is Song of Solomon's and Lamentations in the same volume. Two smaller biblical books, so the WBC series kind of just put them together. It's kind of an odd combination, but probably saves us a little money in the end, so that's helpful. The Lamentations portion of the commentary is about 200 pages right here. And that's actually one of the more thorough treatments of Lamentations that you're going to find today, especially from a conservative evangelical perspective. If anybody knows, I was thinking about this, and I think this may be the most thorough conservative treatment of Lamentations available, I think. So if you know of a longer treatment that's conservative, let me know in the comments. But the reasons why this volume is praised is because of the thorough treatment that House gives Lamentations, and especially in his interaction with the Hebrew and the organization of the WBC, of the contents in the WBC volumes, helps House to kind of just flesh out all of those great nuggets. There's not as much application help in this series or in this volume, but it's very well reviewed for its theology, its exegesis, interaction with Hebrew. Next up is Ezekiel. This one is also 2 volumes, and I'm showing you the second volume here, apparently, but both volumes are the same. So volume was published in 1998. It's praised for its evangelical theology, its very detailed exegesis, and its Block's insight into the background of the book of Ezekiel. So if those are the boxes that you need to have checked for a commentary on Ezekiel, this would be a great consideration for you. Like the others I've mentioned, it's not premillennial. The Block regarding chapter 40 through 48 in the description of the temple, which premill would see as a future temple. Block says, quote, that section anticipates, quote, the Pauline spiritualization of the temple. So if you're looking for a detailed treatment of chapter 40 through 48 from the premill perspective, this might not be, your first choice. But if you want to read that section with discernment and benefit from the other parts of the commentary, you can do that too. All right, Daniel. Best reviewed commentary on Daniel is by Tremper Logman in the Nivac series. It's a shorter commentary, but it's very well reviewed. Logman is conservative. He argues for a 6th century BC date as far as the authorship of Daniel is concerned. And you might know that a lot of modern scholars will argue for maybe a 2nd century BC date. I think is where that lands, 2nd or 3rd century BC. But anyway, a much later date. And one of the reviewers that I talked about said that Logman doesn't spend enough time arguing against those other positions because those other positions are so prevalent today. Maybe he should have spent more time defending the 6th century BC date. But, to each his own. Maybe that's not important to you in a Daniel commentary. Of course, as the series title suggests, the application part, one of the reasons this commentary is so well reviewed is because of the focus on application. So if you're teaching, preaching ministry, this would be a serious consideration for you. Whatever your eschatological perspective is, this could at least be a supplementary volume to your study and your preparation on Daniel because of the emphasis on application. In my opinion, Daniel 1 through 6 is easier to apply to life, or I should say it's easier to find application. Daniel 7 through 12, just because of the nature of apocalyptic literature, it can be more difficult to find application, and so that's where this volume can come in very helpful. It's also just really affordable. So whatever your preference is on Daniel commentaries, this could be a consideration for a nice supplement. All right, so let me give you 3 other suggestions just to kind of add to your knowledge and just give you other things to look up to find the right resource for you. Academic journals go back a long time, hundreds of years. And before the Oswalt volumes on Isaiah came out in the 80s, this was probably the best reviewed commentary on Isaiah. It's by Edward Young, and it's actually 3 volumes. This is just chapters 1 through 18. And this is pretty affordable today. You can usually find it on the secondary market, like on an auction site for, under $50, under $40 sometimes. New volumes you can still find that are pretty affordable, under $100 for 3 volumes. So that would be a consideration. Edward Young, or E.J. Young, is very well-reviewed commentator and theologian, Reformed, amillennial, so for your consideration. An alternative for Jeremiah is this volume on preaching the word. You get Jeremiah and Lamentations by Philip Graham Ryken, and it's over 800 pages in length. Actually just finished it recently, and it's expository, but because it's 800 pages and Ryken provides a lot of exegesis in his preaching, it can be pretty helpful to pastors. It's not overly illustrated. Sometimes I get concerned about that. Not concerned, but sometimes I just don't prefer that. When an expository commentary, they're preaching on something that's like 75% illustrations. I don't know. I just don't find that helpful. But Philip Graham Ryken doesn't do that. There's a lot of exegesis, so that's a consideration. And then I wanted, because there's so much amillennial volumes in this video, I wanted to suggest a premillennial volume, and so I chose Daniel by Stephen Miller in the NAC series. So if you want a perspective on Daniel, especially chapters 7 through 12 from a premillennial perspective, this would be a great consideration. Even lay people would do just fine with this. Pastors would do just fine with it. Miller writes in a way that's very easy to understand. All right, so let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you next time.